A real flame-grilled featherweight scrap here. Meat Boy Diego Lopes is basically a pick'em in this fight against Pat Sabatini, who, to his credit, did just get a nice win. It was an easy work finish over Lucas Almeida, and that was good to see. It was good to see how Sabatini overcame the adversity because he suffered his first UFC defeat in devastating fashion in a fight where he was about a minus 300 favorite, and he came out against an inspired Damon Jackson who was able to absolutely sleep him in just over a minute in the first round. So it was a little bit surprising from Sabatini because everything we had seen before that fight was pretty dominant. This guy was 5-1 in the UFC, had some decision wins, had a finish over Jamal Emmers, and had a pretty suffocating style that was developed with hours and hours of training with guys at Henzo Gracie Philly like Body Bags, like Sean Brady, Nursultan Ruzi Bo, Jeremiah Wells, your boy Basil Hafez. I mean, a lot of tough dudes in that camp. So the skill set for Slabatini was evident, and he ran short against Damon Jackson. But he's taking on Diego Lopes in this one, who was all the rage, right? He debuted essentially off the couch as a late notice replacement for Movsar Evloev, and it was a fight where I don't want to say Movsar almost lost, but there were many dangerous moments for him in that fight, and as around a minus 1100 favorite, Evloev faced a lot of danger against Diego Lopes, who had threatened some submissions on the ground, was pretty competent, especially in that third round on the feet, and overall the guy proved right away that he is UFC caliber, and when he got that next fight against Gavin Tucker, it was an easy light work round one, triangle armbar submission from the bottom, and really just a beautiful thing. Those Mexican fighters fighting out of Lobo Gym, fighting out of Legacy, have that just insane guard and can do some crazy work from the bottom. I mean, we've seen what Alexa Grasso did and Brandon Moreno as well. So Diego Lopes comes in with a pretty cool skill set, and I'm curious to see how that translates against a guy like Slabatini who loves that top pressure, loves suffocating you, and is very much a position over submission guy. So in this clash of styles, you taking Diego Lopes as a slight favorite or slight dog, depending on the book you're looking at, or is Slavatini going to continue the win streak and show Lopes that there are some levels to this game?
Yeah, this is definitely a fun fight. Great fight nonetheless. I gotta go with Slavatini. He's hanging out with the boy Body Bag, Sean Brady, all those absolute savages. And those guys are my boys, big fans of all those fighters. But man, Diego, he looked pretty darn good versus Movsar Evloev. That was very impressive how it was even competitive. I mean, Movsar is the boogeyman kind of in that division. But great win after that, and I'm just really surprised to see how hype people are on Tapology. Like, I'm very shocked to see a submission. Also, I don't know. Pat's grappling is just world class. So I think when it comes to the ground, it's going to be a one-sided mauling. But in the stand-up, I do worry that Diego's size and reach is going to be a problem. This is going to be very interesting. This is such a unique fight with the size, the reach, the height advantage, all that. But I gotta stick with Pat Sabatini. I think that one loss of his was a little bit of a upset hiccup, and I don't think he's ever gonna lose again.
Yeah, it's very interesting to see what Slabatini's ceiling is at this point because this guy was future champ, then he runs into the leech, gets smoked, and now it's kind of like a leveler almost. Like, what is his ceiling? How good is Slabatini? And is he, to your point, a future champ material? So I think we're going to learn a lot in this fight. I, too, was surprised at the fact that it's basically a pick 'em in Vegas, but nearly 80% is rolling with Diego Lopes and 22% going with Sabatini. So that's fascinating because we broke it down a lot of Slabatini contests, and usually Slabatini was an overwhelming favorite. So to see Lopes garnering 80% from Tapology just based on those two UFC fights, I thought was a little bit surprising for sure. Even all that copper for that sub, but again, this is a guy who's extremely dangerous and demonstrated that much most recently against Gavin Tucker. And I don't think that Gavin Tucker is as good as Slavatini, but it's going to be interesting to see how this fight plays out when it's on the ground. Any chance that this fight goes the distance, Meat Boy, or do you anticipate a finish?
I can see this going the distance, but man, I don't know. I think it's going to be a finish. I think it's going to be a ground finish for Slavatini. TKO ground and pound. Diego just to slip it and slide in, can't get the submission because Pat is too good and TKO. Or Diego might snuff him right on the feet. I don't know. It's gonna be very interesting. With that kind of size, I do worry about Pat, but I gotta believe he should have a good game plan with his team.
Yeah, this one's tough, Meat Boy. The 80% of Tapology kind of makes me a little bit nervous because going into it, I was thinking that Diego Lopes can get this one done, but the fact that so many people are sleeping on Sabatini, that makes me think that I might be sleeping on him as well. So for that reason, I'm likely going to be abstaining from this one, but for Meat Boy's sake, I'm going to trust my gut. I'm going to dream, believe, make it happen. Lopes up. I'm picking Diego Lopes. I think he finds a way to get this one done, but again, I think that pick'em value for Pat Sabatini, who is clearly a very well-rounded and talented guy, is probably pretty juicy. And if Sabatini runs through Diego Lopes, then you're probably not going to be seeing pick'em value for Pat anytime soon. So if you're bullish on Sabatini's future, pick'em value seems juicy. I'm going to trust my gut though and concede, believe, achieve. I'm taking Diego Lopes. Any last thoughts?
No, it's a fun fight nonetheless. Don't look how much who you taking and why. Are you conceiving, believing, and achieving, or are you just meeting?